Let me put the recording on. So today we're gonna talk on the topic of pandemic in UK. My name is Irina Efros. I am the co-founder, the founder of the project English in Action SPb, which creates different entertaining and educational events in English for both adults and kids, such as quests in different museums and in different areas of the city, educational excursions, cooking classes with foreign chefs, networking dinners, yacht trips to the Gulf of Finland in summertime, and also now online speaking club. So I'll be happy if you join. At the end of this presentation, on the last slide, you will see all the contacts of my group. So let me share the presentation I prepared for you. Just 1 second. Because some people are still joining us, so I have to check. Okay, so can you see the presentation? Can you see it? You can write me in chat if everything is fine and you can see the presentation. So this is me. This is me in London, and I'm doing on a regular basis. I'm doing, sorry. Okay, yes, it works, fine. So on a regular basis, I'm doing these online webinars. We call them London Stories. There were a few of them already, online and offline. Now we have the second wave of coronavirus, unfortunately, so we're doing offline thing. Why I talk about London? Because I've graduated from the University of Westminster back in London. I did my master's in marketing communications there, and I love the city. I dream to come back after the pandemic, and I'm happy to share my knowledge and experience in London with you. So during this webinar, we will learn how the government helps the citizens during the pandemic, how small businesses survive, or in other words, cope with the situation with the coronavirus, because definitely it influences all businesses badly, especially small businesses. What measures are nightclubs and restaurants owners applied? And the new words that appeared in English language because of the pandemic, just very entertaining parts. There are a lot of, if we can say so, funny and interesting new words that appeared in English vocabulary already that was inspired by pandemic. So we'll do it if we have time, hopefully, because sometimes, you know, I run out of time. So let's see some statistics first. This is the situation that we can see getting worse from March to April and during the whole summer and autumn as well. In Great Britain. In Great Britain, meaning in Scotland, in Wales, you can see that it's getting worse and worse. And this is how many people now are already experienced what coronavirus is. This is the chart that shows blame attribution for spread of COVID-19 in the UK. Because as in many other countries, as in Russia as well, people, let's say, always think who to blame. The government, the COVIDians, so the people who don't use masks, who don't protect themselves and other people, who hang out, who don't do social distancing and so on and so forth. And maybe some other factors. So you can see here that the first place for the people who are not following the social distancing measures. Then the Chinese government, of course, because people think that it started from China. And they still blame country and government. The third place, each and every one of us is responsible for the health and for the coronavirus, distribution of coronavirus. Then globalization, then UK government, maybe just because people think that they don't apply enough measures, but it's usually like that. People always blame government, doesn't matter if it, you know, helps a lot or not. But in comparison to Russia, UK government helps their citizens and the small businesses and big businesses a lot, and we'll see it later today. And then corruption, the USA government, of course, the USA government is always someone to blame. The capitalist system, the Italian government, austerity, Euro Union, Scottish government, air pollution, and the Welsh government. It's like that. Responsible, extremely responsible. So how the government helps its residents? Now we're talking not about businesses, we're talking about ordinary people and measures that government in UK try to apply to protect its citizens. We'll talk today about few organizations and few interesting websites which you can check later on by yourself if you're really interested in the topic. The first one, of course, is gov.co.uk. It's a governmental, official governmental website which contains a lot of information on how different people in different social levels, let's put it like that, social levels, health, people with health issues can protect themselves during the pandemic. Actually, there's a lot to say and a lot to read, but I'll give you a few examples so you understand better the situation, that you'll understand the situation better. I made a few print screens so you can just scroll and understand. So they're saying that coronavirus outbreak is having an impact on everyone's daily lives. And the government and the NHS, it's National Health Service. Usually most of the UK people blame National Health Service because it's free of charge, most like in Russia. It's quite bad. So people don't like it. They don't value it a lot. They take necessary steps to manage the outbreak. Outbreak means the pandemic happens, the cases going up, and there is a second wave of pandemic. That means outbreak. Reduce transmission and treat those who need medical attention. So they created a special government guidance to help people to protect themselves, their families, and the communities. What they do, maybe you checked Russian governmental website and maybe you think that they cover a lot, but actually when I checked gov.co.uk, I understood, you know, how British people are far more protected than us, for example. So what they say, what can help your mental health and well-being? They're giving you some ordinary advices, of course. So think about a new daily routine, consider how to connect with others, help and support others, talk about your worries. This is just a very, general advices. But then they are saying seek advice and support if you smoke or use drugs or alcohol. So basically what they did, they covered all communities, all social circles, social levels of people. They thought about the elderly people, they thought about children, about those who work and who can't work on a distantly. For people who do drugs and alcohol, which I don't think is applicable in Russia. Nobody cares about that people, even in the better times, and especially during the tough times as pandemic is. So they're saying that smoking and using drugs, for example, or alcohol, is not a good way to cope with a bad situation, especially mental and financial situation. And they're giving different types of services for people, and the helpline, the hotline, so people can call and get advice and get some psychological support from professionals. What they do also, they take care of people with learning disabilities. For example, if you have a learning disability, you may be finding the COVID pandemic stressful. You may be worried and about changes that might happen because of it, including staying at home more. So Public Health England created a specially easy read guidance. So how COVID-19 may affect people and what they need to do to keep themselves safe and well. Also, they think that we should, like the citizens should keep in touch with the people who they trust, like friends, family, employee, or the phone or internet. And they have advices on every small aspect, which I adored about that. It's very detailed information. Second. So I won't stop longer on that. Just want to say that people who are homeless, people who are doing drugs, people who are mentally ill, for example, people who have some serious problems with health, like autism, for example, they put it in all different categories, and for each category they have special guidance and special advice. Also, they mention the help citizens can get from the government. For example, getting essential items and care if they're extremely vulnerable, paying bills including their rent, getting paid if people can't work because of coronavirus, getting an online isolation note if they need to prove they are sick, and postponing or canceling travel arrangements. This means actually UK, they did it before. For example, maybe you don't know that, but maybe you've read a book, A Cat Called Bob. It was published a few years ago, and now they have also a movie. Maybe you watched a movie about this interesting story. A homeless guy, a musician, who plays on the like a guitar or something on the street, and he met a stray cat named Bob, and they became friends. And because of love to this dog, this guy started to live more or less normal life. He got a job, he got a flat, new friends, and he now became a millionaire, maybe even more than millionaire, because he wrote a book and a few parts of this book, and it got very popular. So in this book, why I'm telling you about that, because in this book, he's writing about homeless people and how UK government deals with the situation. So if you become homeless in UK, if you lose your job in UK, government pays your rent and government pays you bills. It's even without any pandemic situation. So no one will be kicked out of a flat because now he found himself in a bad situation. Government takes care about that, but for a certain period of time, of course, because there's still a lot of homeless people, a lot of people with drinking and drug problems, drug issues. So of course, it's not just all sweet and nice. It's not a fairy tale in UK as well, but still they're helping people a lot. And now they're doing this for all the people who lose their jobs because of the pandemic. So they're paying the bills and they're paying the rent. And also, which is interesting, for example, some of my friends who live in London, and they have, for example, their flats as a property. So they bought the flats, and they pay different bills every single, period of time, month or so. There is a note like electricity, water, gas, something else, that if you have a problem paying your bill, this one or that one, you can call this line, you can get advice here, you can take a loan, you can, for example, split your bill into few parts. So they have a lot of ways to help people to cover their expenses, their bills. I think that in Russia, we don't have it. I've never, during this half of the year, I haven't seen it, that if I can't pay my bill, I can somehow be helped by the government. But maybe I'm wrong, I don't know. So they also have a section of the information saying that if your partner or family member makes you feel anxious or threatened, you can still get help during this time. You can contact a domestic abuse organization to check what services are available. And you can also check the website Save Lives. Because we all know that during the pandemic, during the self-isolation, many families were stuck at home, and maybe even if the partners weren't that threatening before, of course, the situation with a health threat and losing your job threat, it influenced mental health badly. And some people, they became insane just because of this situation. So because of that, they created this helpline for the women, especially for the women and the small children who feel uncomfortable at home, but they can't do anything with that because they're self-isolated with their families. So they can get help from the government or from some special charity organizations and psychological support as well. They can get help, citizens can get help from an NHS volunteer. So basically, they might be able to ask a volunteer to go shopping for them, top up a prepayment meter, or collect a prescription. Prescription meaning, for example, most of the medicine in UK that you can't buy just in a drugstore. You need to get a prescription from a doctor. Otherwise, nobody will sell you, anything like a serious medication in the drugstore. So prescription can be collected by the volunteer. What does it mean to top up a prepayment meter? To top up means to pay, to put money on the account, to pay for your bills, electricity or mobile phone, doesn't matter. They say also top up a tube metro card, transport card, to top up the mobile phone account. So they don't say pay or something, top up. And if citizens, some of the citizens are disabled, pregnant, sick or injured, or old enough to get a state pension, they can ask volunteer to do a lot of things for them. And also, which is interesting, they can talk to a volunteer or the phone if they're feeling lonely because they're self-isolated. And they're telling to people that you don't have to be classed as a vulnerable to talk to a volunteer. Vulnerable means when, for example, people who are poor or people who are disabled or people with their some mental illness, for example, or physical illness, they're considered to be a vulnerable group of people. So this means the people who are under the bigger pressure than others and who are risking their health in the situation with the COVID more than other people. Like older people, they're more vulnerable nowadays than younger people. There is another website, also very interesting one, citizenadvice.org.uk, which is giving a lot of helpful tips, how we say today, life hacks to help people during the pandemic. For example, they say, if you got less money because of the coronavirus, you can check what help you can get if you can't pay your bills. Even it includes things like your mortgage. Mortgage, it's like a ipoteka. Energy bills, council tax, court fines. Court fines, штрафы. You can also find out what to do if you can't pay your rent or have problems with your rented home again. Getting benefits. You might be able to claim benefits or get more money if you're already getting benefits. This includes any stationary sick pay, SSP, your employee might give you, and you can check the benefits. Then if you have no money for food, also very interesting aspect, you might be able to get help from a food bank. You can look online to see if there are any independent local food banks you can go to without a referral. Ask a charity or someone like a GP or a social worker to refer you to a food bank. Find out more about getting referred to a food bank and the link. If your child is off school because of coronavirus and usually gets free school meals because of your benefits, the school will provide food parcels. This happened to, like in Russia as well. Families with the kids, they got food parcels, and there was food parcel, посылка с едой, food parcel. And there were discussions in the beginning of coronavirus about that people compare our parcels with the European parcels and Korean parcels, and of course ours are very modest, очень скромные наши посылки с едой, but still we have it as well. But I don't think we have a so-called food bank where you can go and just get food free of charge without a referral. Without a referral means you don't have to confirm that you are poor. Да, то есть, что имеется в виду referral, что когда вы идете в банк еды, продуктов, да, вам не нужно доказывать, что вы вот из какой-то группы, что вы бедный, или еще что-то, почему вам нужно обязательно выдать еду бесплатно. Вам не нужны никакие доказательства. If you're sleeping outside, meaning homeless people, bums, or in a shelter where you can't self-isolate, this is sometimes known as a rough sleeping. Your local council might help you now, even if you wouldn't usually be entitled to help. And you can get help applying for homeless help from the council. We had a huge problem with it nowadays because people who are like very vulnerable and who sleep on the streets, first of all, they're under the biggest risk of getting the coronavirus, then they can distribute this coronavirus to more people. they can go to the shelter. There are special tents by ночлежка, for example, in Russia, or the houses like ночлежка. But people there are very packed. And again, they distribute the disease to each other because there are many people in the room. So in UK, they try to solve this problem as well. Guys, we have 8 minutes left, so please come back when the time will finish. Please come back with the same link. Да, просто делаю объявление, что у нас осталось 8 минут. Просто вернитесь по той же ссылке, когда закончится эта конференция. So now we are talking about businesses, especially small businesses. So the coronavirus pandemic could cost UK small businesses up to 69 billion pounds, which is $87.8 billion, according to a survey of more than 4,000 small and medium-sized enterprises. The research by insurers Simply Business found COVID-19 had cost the average small company 11.799 pounds to date, and 25% of firms believe they are at risk of closing in the next 6 months. SMEs account for 99% of all UK businesses and contribute a combined £2 billion annually. The coronavirus outbreak has already caused the closure of 234,000 small businesses in the UK since lockdown began in March. Can you imagine? 234,000 businesses, small and medium-sized businesses, already closed. So there's one interesting website dedicated to small business. And they have these charts. What negative impact has COVID-19 had on your small business? So they did this survey among the employers, among the owners of small businesses. Severe impact, measure like a big impact. Severe is a very tough impact. Moderate impact, not that much, and minimal impact. And you can see that almost 50% of the people, of the owners, company owners, they said severe impact. And 30-something% said major impact. Then they had a question. Have you experienced any of the following during the COVID-19 pandemic as a small business owner? So most of the people said they experienced worry about adapting their business to a new situation. For example, going from offline to online, or changing the vector, changing the path. So you understand that this business, like nightclub business, for example, doesn't work in this pandemic situation, and they start to do something else. They start to work on something else. Then the other thing, stress over supporting employees, because a lot of people, they had to cut the funds and fire a lot of people. Or, for example, in Russia, people worked 5 days and the employee said, we can't give you a lot of clients. We can't, for example, doctors, dentists. We can allow you to work only 2 days out of 5. And the money you are getting will be in the envelope. It's like black salary. And it has a lot of drawbacks. In UK, of course, it's not that possible to put money in the envelope and give you employees. And they have to keep employees. And if they are firing people, if they fire people, they have to cover a long period of time, cover with the money, you know, backup people with the money. And for them, it's a really stressful situation, first of all, because they, of course, they're people, they understand that there's a, you know, this human factor, they understand that most of the employees, they have families and kids or elder parents to help financially, to support financially, and also because they don't want to cut their teams. But on the other hand, they have to cover the expenses, and it's very tough, appear to be very tough. Another thing, confusion over help available, because government, it offers quite a lot of help and guidance to the owners of small businesses, but people are overloaded with this information, and not every time they are aware of this information and they can get it in the right time. Another thing, difficulty running business with a family at home. This is a problem for small businesses, like which includes only, let's say, few people, because you are working distantly, you are sitting at home in so-called home office, and you have small kids around, your family, your pets, who are getting on your nerves badly, and you are in a totally different working environment, and it's not working environment at all. And other factors. So two main factors, it's worry about adapting your business and stress over supporting employees. Then people were asked, do they have an action plan of how the small business can react to the new world post-COVID-19? And it's very nice figure, very nice statistics here, because 42% of UK owners said yes, and only 4% answered no. 32 somewhat, meaning, yeah, I have some plan, but you know, I'm still working on that. And 20% said not really. Yeah, still. But what I found out, because I wrote an article about Russian small entrepreneurs, Russian small companies and Russian entrepreneurs in different areas of business and in different cities of Russia. And most of them, they said, yes, we have an action plan. I think the situation is more or less the same with their small businesses and entrepreneurs all over the world, because these people are really adventurous. That's how they started their own business. They are ready and they have this experience of coping with different situations and the tough ones. And most of them, they have this backup plan, это как второй план дополнительный. Guys, I think it's time to disconnect and come back with the same link. Возвращаемся по той же ссылке сейчас, потому что у нас осталось меньше минуты, не хочу что-то начинать говорить, когда нас могут прервать, хорошо? Просто возвращаемся по той же ссылке.
Hello.
Сейчас, наверное, все выйдут и вернутся по той же ссылочке, хорошо? Кто-то только, наоборот, присоединяется к нам. Сейчас мы им скажем. Someone didn't switch off their sound. Okay, I will do it for you guys. Okay, now we can continue. We can continue with this. Okay, so and the last chart here, have stressed small business owners sought help. To sought help means to seek help or to ask for help. So most of the owners, small business owners, of course, they experienced stress in the last 12 months, most of them. As you can see, almost 80%. I don't know who are these courageous 20% who didn't experience any stress. But here we go. But only 20% of the people or the owners, they sought professional help in the last 12 months. And I should tell you that in UK, or maybe in other countries like US, in very developed countries, but in UK, now it's very popular profession is business psychologist. In Russia, we have, this private life psychologist and just in general, psychologist in general, but they have like a business psychologist that supports you as an owner of the small or bigger business in tough times. And this is a very narrow specialist in a very narrow field. And they also have support during the pandemic for the business owners. So business owner can go to business psychologist to relieve from the stress and to get some advice and some support, moral support. Okay, let's go to the next slide. How the government helps small business. So basically what they do, in Russia, I'm working as an entrepreneur, as an individual entrepreneur. And I got the first 2 months, I got some money from the government, a really small amount of money, to cover my expenses, like 12,000 rubles. Yeah. If I had some employees, I will get money for them as well, but it's a really, really small money. In UK, they have, of course, this is not everything. I'm not giving you all the information because it's like loads and loads. We can talk for hours about that. But they get loans. You can see it's called Bounce Back Loan Scheme for Small Businesses. So the government has introduced a 100% guaranteed bounce back loan scheme aimed at supporting small businesses that have been affected by coronavirus. They have coronavirus business interruption loan. This scheme provides government-backed loans of up to 5 million to small and medium businesses affected by coronavirus. Kickstart scheme grant, 30 or more job placements. That means if it provides funding to create new job placement for those who are at the age of 16 to 24 years old, and who are at risk of long-term unemployment because they don't have enough experience to get a job. So if someone is an employee looking to create 30 or more job placements for young people, they can find information how government will help them do it. So companies, they get a free business advice for small firms. Thousands of expert professional and business services advisors have signed up to offer free online advice to help small businesses bounce back from coronavirus. Then Coronavirus Business Support Hub. This brings together key information for businesses, including on funding and support, business closures, responsibilities as an employee, and managing business during the outbreak of coronavirus. And the hub also includes information for self-employed people and sole traders. Also, Government Coronavirus Information Service on WhatsApp updated for businesses. So employees can receive information via WhatsApp on business support measures. And webinars to help businesses understand the support available. And they also have different online courses for small business owners free of charge. on a regular basis. So our almost last section is how did nightclubs and restaurants cope? Why I'm saying nightclubs and restaurants? Because this is the most vulnerable, so to say, section of business during the coronavirus. Coronavirus affected it badly. And for example, in UK, nightclubs are feeder businesses. Feeder businesses, that means that this business, it feeds another businesses. For example, with those attending often heading to other bars and restaurants on the same night, boosting local economies. To boost the economy, it means to increase, to improve the economy, to get it, to make it better. The nighttime industry in the UK is worth around £66 billion, according to the NTIA. The association has published a report with the Institute of Occupational Medicine outlining ways that nightclubs can return safely. This was, of course, during the summer before the second wave of coronavirus. Now all clubs are closed and restaurants are closed as well. Now in UK, as in Europe, they applied really tough measures to stop coronavirus. Much tougher than in Russia, which is, I think, a good thing for the UK, for example. So measures include operating nightclubs at 75% capacity, would allow for social distancing to be possible. A mechanical ventilation in clubs means fresh air can be pumped in up to 25 times an hour. Established ID check systems on the door mean track and trace would be easy to implement. And of course, they did this temperature measurements and so on and so forth. But this was again during the summertime. Some clubs, they try to survive because we don't know how long will it take for coronavirus to stop. So, for example, Lakota nightclub in Bristol was one of the first venues in the country to organize sell-out DJ sets in its car park. Clubbers book tables of 6 and are not allowed to mix with other groups or dance. So they closed all the dance floors because even if dancing is prohibited but the dance floor is opened, someone can get drunk easily and start dancing, and that will break the law and lead to some bad consequences. So they did they separated the tables and they did like that. They also, what they did, they did a concerts, but there was a special booths, it's called booth. So people, like a company of friends or families, they were in their separate booth, socially distanced from the others, and they couldn't leave it until certain time, and they all were living in different time. So they were packed only with the family, friends, and not more than 6 people in the group. And that's how they had concerts, for example, in the parks, somewhere on the open air, during the summertime, of course. There is another interesting club on the ship called Thekla. And so it's a former cargo ship moored in a dock in the city center. And they face the same problems as many bars, clubs, and pubs on the dry land, because it can be cramped inside and has limited outside space. So the plan at the moment was, again, it's the summer period of time, to utilize outdoor space, to utilize the car parking, and to use summer terraces. So people, of course, again, they put heavy fixed furniture to ensure social distancing, so the people couldn't move the furniture and change their place. And people would need to rely on table service for drinks, with orders likely placed through an app. In Russia, we also sometimes faced it. So when you're going to the bar, for example, I was going to, what was that? A rock the international chain of rock star bars, and there was no menu on the paper. So you should use your own mobile phone and app to place an order. And it's like that in UK. It was like that everywhere. And also they were using the one-way system similar to supermarkets and temporarily outdoor toilets with stewards brought in to regulate both. But as we can see, maybe it helped, maybe not. They planned actually to do these, summer terraces during the autumn and even winter times, because in UK, in London, for example, the temperature very rarely goes below 10 degrees, plus 10 degrees, of course. So they use these heating systems, heating lamps, special heating lamps, and some covers to make people warmer on the open air terrace. But now this was a plan, but now it's all closed until the beginning of December, they say. This is the plan. Maybe it will change later on, but now it's like that. And of course, the economy suffers a lot, as in Russia. So we have a few more minutes. I want to share another presentation with you, an interesting one, and then maybe we can have a small chat. So this is new words we created because of coronavirus. This is the fun part of this presentation, because before it was a lot of information, I think, and very sad information. Now, more fun. Coronation. So coronation, it's a vacation now. We experience a coronation if you have younger sisters, brothers, kids, they have coronation. When classes are canceled, at universities as well, and people, students and school kids, they're sitting at home and they study through Zoom. This is coronation. So you're not going on vacation somewhere to the seaside, you're isolated at home, but you have a kind of vacation from your university or from your school, or maybe from your work as well. Rona, this is a short form of corona. So many people in the UK, in Europe, they say not coronavirus, a long word, they say just Rona, informal shortening of coronavirus. So Rona is often used as a playful or an ironic way to refer to COVID-19, especially when commenting on more relatable, humorous challenges of social distancing during the pandemic. Zumping. This is, to make the long story short, dumping, when you dump person, когда кто-то кого-то бросает. Да, в отношения закончены, кто-то кого-то бросает. Zumping, it's the same thing, but through Zoom, through the internet. When you don't meet in person and saying this is over, sorry, our relationship is over, you don't call person, even you don't text person, you say this in Zoom, during the Zoom conference. COVID divorce, opposite word. This is the experience for other couples under COVID-19. Quarantine may not be so snuggly, and being in extended isolation with loved ones can strain a relationship. So enter COVID divorce or divorces filed as a result of couples experience during COVID-19. Someone wrote in chat. Okay, yeah, smiling. So sometimes in Europe, in the US, as I know, some people can even file, fill the papers and do COVID divorce online without going to the court, without all this long procedure. Coronals, quarantines, and corona babies. All these are children who were either born or, created during the self-isolation. When two people get really cozy while quarantine and chilling, they may, babies being conceived while people are cooped up at home. In other words, to be cooped up at home. Like to get stuck. Да, застрять дома, быть как бы дома как в тюрьме. To be cooped up at home during the coronavirus have been dubbed corona babies. We know millennials, we know baby boomers, now we know coronals or quarantines. Quarantine and chill, another nice word. There is one, Netflix and chill, but for the coronavirus era. Quarantine and chill is used for various ways people are hunkering down and spending free time at home during the coronavirus, especially with a romantic partner while marathoning streaming services. And be careful when you search for quarantine and chill on social media, though some people use the phrase when posting revealing selfies. Example, my hubby and I are in an epic tournament of Rummy 500. Winner each night gets to pick the movie. Quarantine and chill, hashtag quarantine and chill. Zoom bombing. I was telling you about that in the beginning of the webinar. So we know bombing, photo bombing, when people ruin photography, for example. Here, when I'm doing my webinar right now and someone interferes in the process, starts to say something bad, or starts to draw some pictures on my presentation, so he hacks my webinar. Or, for example, he's, I don't know, last time it was someone put on some advertising of how should I put it, slut house or something like that, with nude people and sexual advertising. So this is called this all is called Zoom bombing. Virtual happy hour, when someone might drink a Carantini or Corona Rita. So because many people are working from home to help, they are letting off at the end of a long day of doom scrolling by holding virtual happy hours with a FaceTime, Google Hangouts, and other video conferencing or chat applications. So happy hour is a cocktail hour or longer period at a bar during which drinks are served at reduced prices or free snacks. Corona Rita is a margarita answer to a Carantini, served with what else? A Corona bread beer. A margarita is a cocktail made of tequila, lime, lemon juice, and an orange flavored liqueur, usually served in a salt-rimmed glass. So Corona Rita and Carantini, you can Google it and you can find the recipe to create your own cocktail if you want to. Coronavirus, another term for a covidiot. So covidiot, it's a person who don't do social distancing, person who doesn't do social distancing, who doesn't wear a mask, who hang out with the friends in the crowds of people. So coronavirus, it's also a person. It's not a virus or something, it's a person. Covidiot and coronavirus. It's a form of quarantine shaming. It's a slang for publicly criticizing someone for not following health and safety guidelines. Guidelines. Sorry, guys, guidelines. Covidiot, the same. doom scrolling. So when we are overloaded with information, especially it was in the beginning of pandemic when we didn't know anything about that, and we got all this information from TV, radio, social media, from our friends, neighbors. So it got on our nerves badly. And what we used to do, we were just doom scrolling. It means when you don't know what to do, you are panicking, and maybe there's a problem with your job or something else. So you're sitting all day long with your mobile phone, cell phone. You just scroll all the information you can get from different resources about pandemic. This is called doom scrolling. Quarantine is an intentional misspelling of quarantine, often used in ironic commentary on what it's like to be at home during the coronavirus pandemic. So it appeared due to the misspelling of quarantine, but now people using it. Like corn, part of the word, and teen for teenager. So thanks for being with me during this presentation. Hope you liked it. We'll have the video in Facebook, in Wiki, and Instagram of British Book Center, because I recorded everything, both sessions, so you will be able to watch it again and maybe get some new information you missed. And remember the words I gave you during the second presentation better. And I will be happy if you actually leave your comments either in in the group of British Book Center or in my groups, which is, I'll show you, 1 second, I'll show you my group. Let me share with you the presentation one more time. Okay, guys, so what I wanted to say, this is my social media of my project. Hopefully it will be back with more than just, just online speaking club. So Facebook, Instagram, VK, English and Action SPb, email, you can write me a letter, you can ask any questions, you can leave your feedback, your comments. You can join our online speaking club with me and Ronnie. It's our native speaker. We're doing it every Tuesday and at 7 p.m. Probably we'll be doing also on Thursdays. We have different topics for 1.5 hours, different discussions and presentations. So I'll be happy if you'll join. And now you can switch on your microphones, and you can ask me any questions and give me some comments if you'd like to. I'll be really happy if you do that. Thank you, guys. Any comments?
Thank you. It was so interesting.
Thank you so much. Thanks for this time with me. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. Sorry?
Hello.
Yeah. Yes.
So you hear me?
Yeah. I can hear you. Yeah.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know. Thank you for information. It was very interesting, and especially thank you for funny words.
Okay. I'm happy you liked it. I'm happy you liked it, and I think that by the end of this week you will get it, the presentation in the British Book Center and my social networks in Wiki and Facebook, so you can check it one more time. So guys, last call, last chance to ask questions. Because if you don't have any, then we'll finish the webinar. And next month, we're finished with the London stories. And next month, we'll start with the British Book Centre Literature Club. And we'll announce it next week. So you are more than welcome to join our literature club, where we'll be discussing books of American and British writers in Zoom.
Oh, very interesting.
Yeah. We'll do it in Zoom, but maybe later, after the second wave will be, down, we'll continue offline, because nothing can be compared with this, offline vibe, when people are getting together and you can feel the energy and you can look at people's eyes in their faces, and not like doing, offline in the small windows. So let's see, but anyway, we'll do literature club. So join us. And thanks for your attention. Have a nice rest of the evening. If you don't have any questions, then bye.
Bye-bye.